taxes, inflation, and the breakdown of the family are causing us to fall behind. We have the lowest net worth in the United States, and I'm sure those numbers cross the border as well.
Some people get the disability tax credit and they don't open the registered disability savings plan, and that's where the government puts in all the money of grants and bonds for a person with a disability who has done all the steps. Some people don't do all the steps.
Good morning, everyone. A little bit of a technical glitch, but we got it straightened out. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. Just give me a second here. I don't like something there. That's better. There we go. Host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We are broadcasting live Friday, March 14th, halfway through March. This month seems to be going a little bit faster. Yeah, this one seems to be going a little bit faster. We are doing okay here. Ryan should be joining me. I sent him the link this morning. All right. Okay, we've got this going on. All right. What is going on in your world? Good morning, everybody. Hope all is fine wherever you're watching this live. And I guess it's March break week for many students in the elementary school students in the Greater Toronto area. So a little bit quieter, and we're getting decent weather. The sun is out, so you got to build up on your vitamin D. 100%. Vitamin D is happening here. A number of things going on. The world, it never stays still. It never stays still these days. And look, very happy to have Wayne Harris with us this morning. He couldn't make it last week because he was traveling, which is not a bad thing. We like it when Wayne Harris travels. And I think he may be in a different locale today. I'm not 100% sure, but different background today. What's everyone up to? Good morning, Fitness IQ Cam. Morning. Hope you and your family are fine and safe. What's been going on and what isn't going on in the news these days? Really, I think one of the interesting stories I heard over the last 36 hours, if you're into any R&B music, there was a group, I think they're still performing, but in their heyday, I think we're in the 90s, called En Vogue. And believe it or not, one of the singers from the original En Vogue group has been living the last 3 years in her car. And I will listen to a lot of different commentary about that and a number of lessons from that. First of all, good morning, Destiny Savory from Niagara Falls. Good to have you from Niagara Falls. That is cool. How are things in Niagara Falls? Warm, cold, what? Talk to me. Tell me what's going on in Niagara Falls. All right. Yeah, it's a singer, En Vogue, living in her car. And it's funny, an associate of mine, she's one of the hosts of Primetime Saturday, Laura Lala Key, has had encounters with Dawn Robinson, I believe the lady's name is. She says she's not that nice of a person. And living out of her car for the last year. So it just shows you when you're in the entertainment business, you got to protect yourself. You gotta, absolutely. So just doing some stuff here in the back end. Okay, there we do that. Yeah, you didn't hear that one? Fitness IQ Cam? Okay. All right, so I've sent the wrong link to Ryan. So let me just send it to him right now. My apologies. So in real time, Ryan, I'm going to tell you when I'm sending you the link. Okay. The link is sent to you now. So you should be getting it in the next minute. So we will wait till Ryan comes in. All right. Fitness IQ Camp says, I've been under a rock for the most part. Well, I understand you. This is your busy time of year. So I fully understand that. Fully understand. I connect. All right. Okay. So we're just doing some testing of some stuff this morning. And we're just trying to see if it works. I got to see if this thing works this morning. We want to. It's really weird. For some reason, it should be connecting on my end, but it's not. Okay, show it. Wonder why. All right, no problem. No problem. This is all good. All right. So we're just waiting for Mr. Knight to make his grand entrance because we haven't seen him for such a long time. I don't think it shows on the YouTube. Okay, got it. Fitness IQ Kansas, I have a story for you. And she says, LOL, stories for you. Okay, well, I don't know if we're going to do this online or offline, but no problem. Ryan Knight is in the house. Stories for you. Okay, you're getting feedback on your thing, Ryan.
Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. I had the phone live. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you.
It's been a minute. What's been going on?
It has been a minute. It's been such exciting times. For those that may have forgotten who I am because I haven't been able to make it in a minute. My name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro Caribbean Business Network, and also an entrepreneur. I run a company called Detailing Nights, which is getting into full swing because I'm calling it spring is here. So we are actually doing some info sessions about one, obtaining franchises with Detailing Nights, and two, young entrepreneurs that are in high school or out of school that want to start a business. We are showing them how to work with us this summer. So stay tuned. We're going to be emailing and posting about those two info sessions shortly. But good to see you, brother.
Well, you got a lot going. You got an event coming up in the next few weeks.
Yes. So in 2 weeks-ish, 1 week? No, 2 weeks. I'll say 2 weeks Saturday, March 29th, we have the ACBN Legacy Symposium. Tickets, I am quite confident, are sold out. But we do have a way to win a ticket to the Legacy Symposium.
Hold on. Already almost sold out?
There's two left. I checked yesterday and there was 2 tickets left.
Hold on. What?
It's go time. Oh man.
What?
And so we're doing a giveaway because I pulled aside 2 tickets because we really do want the right people in the room. So we want to find those that are ready to really build out their business, build out better systems. Even if you're not thinking of franchising, you want to build franchise-like systems so that your company can grow. You can increase the team members that you have so that people are working around you on your business. I know Dr. Vibe talks about a lot with bringing on co-op students and having team members. So we're actually doing Sheridan College student, what do we call it? We don't even have a name for it, but we're matching students that are studying courses that match what businesses are struggling with. So if you're struggling with marketing, we are going to match you with a student studying marketing. So that day you're going to be able to work together, have a teammate that is supporting you as you're at the symposium and learning. They'll be there, taking notes for you, doing networking, seeing if there's anybody else in the room. So you're going to have that first kind of wing person alongside you. So we're testing it for the first time. So it might not go super smooth, but we are going to figure out how to get you a person to work with. So that alone, I say, is worth the price of admission. We are making sure that it's worth your time to be there. You're taking a day. So come in, get paired up with a student. Our hope is that this student working alongside you can be somebody that brings value to your business. Possibly they can co-op or intern with you, and in the future you possibly hire them as your next best hire. So we're testing to see if we can make that kind of thing happen.
That's big. Lots of comments in the going right now. Fitness IQ Cam says Gala King with WAP Pop.
Yes.
Frequency Event Promotions, greetings and salutations. What is up? Also says, oh yes, spring is in the air. We are supposed to get a whole bunch of rain this weekend, so spring will really be in the air. Just Tornado, what's going on from Texas? Oh, Just Tornado. I always love being in the same space, and last night, I believe it was live. Myself and my producer, we watched a really amazing content creator, Tanya Smith, and she did. I'm really absorbing a lot of great knowledge from great people these days. And Tanya Smith, she did some amazing stuff and a really great content creator. And one of the great things she said was, value, not vanity.
Ooh, yes.
That was so good.
That would be hard for a lot of Instagram influencers.
Yes, and it was, and I'm just gonna put out there. I've seen her live twice. I would suggest people follow her. She's really good, and she has such a wonderful presentation voice. And I'm gonna reach out to her to see if she can come on the show because she is amazing. I mean,
so good.
So I'm gonna reach out to her. I subscribed to her as during her live thing last night, big time. Fitness IQ Cam says sold out. Yes, it's sold out. She goes, you got your ticket, Fitness IQ Cam? So
how is that? That can't be possible that Camille did not get her ticket.
Okay,
she goes the first to know.
She goes, not rain. I'm enjoying the sunshine through my window mostly. And Just Tornado says, yes, I love Tanya. I love Tanya too. She's amazing. Has a YouTube channel, Stream Like a Boss TV. I mean, she is giving so much free game, family. OMG. I was just overwhelmed by all the wonderful free game that she's been giving. Frequency Event Promotions goes value, not vanity. Yeah, that was a knowledge bomb that she dropped last night. She gave a really good example last night. She said, you know what? She wanted to get to 1,000 followers on TikTok. And so she did a post with a trending item on TikTok just to see what would happen.
Okay.
She went over 1,000 followers, no problem. But she said, that's not what I want because it's not aligned with my brand. But she just, so she gave a real life example.
Like a real life test. Exactly.
Yes. She said, you can get over a lot of followers, but he says, what is the value, not the vanity? And she goes, what? Just Tornado. She also said, likes don't pay lights.
Okay, yeah.
Likes don't pay the lights. I just going, lady, you're just dropping knowledge bombs. Frequency Event Planner goes, as an event planner, it warms our hearts when events are sold out, especially ahead of time. To Ryan and the team. Good morning, Ron Foster. How are you? Definitely check out Ron Foster daily broadcasts on Indie Soup Media. Daily, great stuff. And Fitness IQ Cam has these emojis. I don't know what those emojis mean.
Is it a dinosaur?
I have no idea.
Or is it a frog?
I don't know. Fitness IQ Cam says, likes don't pay the lights. Yeah. Tanya Smith, I'm reaching out to you this weekend. We need to get you. And she has such a wonderful presentation style. And you know what? She is so, and she only I'll just put it out. She only has about 2,000 or 3,000 followers on her channel, but she is really busy, does a lot of coaching about live stream. And I met her through Kirk Nugent, who's another incredible content creator. So people, when I drop these names, I'm dropping because I want you to follow them because they are on point. Good morning, Dr. Tachi. How you doing? Frequency Event Promotion goes, likes don't pay the lights. Yes. Just Tornado goes, good morning, Dr. Tachi. Look who's in the house. One Full Circle community. Woo! Grand Rising. And good Fitness IQ goes, I thought the emoji showed it. I was crying. Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Tachi says, just Tornado. Hey there. All right. We're going to take a break. Wayne Harris, it's the second Friday of the night. Of the month, not night of the night. By the way, did anyone catch the lunar eclipse last night? I didn't.
Oh, I thought it was the red moon. It's a eclipse too?
It was a lunar eclipse or whatever.
Gotcha.
Okay, one more thing before we go to break. C Nurse K says, good morning, all. Lots of people in the house already. Wayne Harris is coming. Fitness IQ Cam says, hola, Dr. Tachi. And Dr. Tachi says, Fitness IQ Cam, I saw it was a crying emoji. All right, it was recognized. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in 30 seconds. And you know what we'll do? Oh, my God, people are in like crazy this morning. Okay, hold on. We'll go do 3 more comments and we'll go. Opal Inspired, good morning. Hope you are fine. Follow her creations on her YouTube channel. David Hughes, all the way from Australia. Long time. Hope you're doing all right. And Fitness Agugan says, my brother sent photos and videos. Okay, let's go to commercial before too many comments get going. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Black Canada Talking, where Black Canadians give their takes, POVs, and insights on local, provincial, national, international conversations. Cesar Nadima Musa. What is up, Cesar?
Hi, Dr. Vibe. Thanks for having me. And it jeopardizes your ability to sustain yourself financially.
40 programs have been suspended due to the drop in revenue.
We see this happening over and over again throughout history.
What does that tell you about America? All right, we are back. Black Canada Talking. Oh, speaking of which, okay, you know, we'll do some housework stuff, and then we got a special Black Canada Talking coming this weekend. All right, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. We're getting closer to 1,720 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed and you're up to it, please subscribe. There's a whole pile of people, so I'm going through this quick because I want Wayne to bring his fire. Also, follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe@thedr.com to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm a part of. dr.vibe@thedr.com. Indie Soup TV, Dr. Ty's in the house, so I better put it out there. Independent content creators platform, about 30 independent content creators. And again, over about 23,000, I believe, YouTube subscribers, which puts Indie Soup Media in the top 4% of subscribers of YouTube channels around the world. And Dr. Tachi and all the creators have been able to do that in less than a year. So there's YouTube, there's the website. All right, let's do a few more quick comments before Mr. Harris doesn't get a chance to come on. So let me take this off. All right, let's do this. So David Hughes says, I've been traveling to the UK, Southeast Asia, and Malaysia for the past 7 months.
Oh,
phenomenal.
Was that for business? What was happening?
Well, he's very much involved in Toastmasters.
Gotcha.
So you know what, David, I'd like to find a way. I don't know if because of the time difference, I don't know, but would love to get you on the Morning Vibe. We've known each other digitally for a number of years. Right. You've been a great supporter. I would love you, if you have, to make it happen. So Ryan says, thanks for, man, the comments are crazy this morning. Thanks for tuning in. You would like you tuning in too, Ryan. You want to see Ryan? He's here. Just Tornado. I didn't see the promo to support the Dr. Vibe Show and donate for that new Mac Mini. So you weren't here, but last time, Just Tornado is pushing me to do a GoFundMe to get me a Mac Mini so I can switch to a different live streaming platform. So Dr. Just Tornado, I got to speak with you off the line to say what's your thoughts on the best way of launching that. All right.
Do a marathon day back in the day where they do the telethons. All
right. Dr. Tachi has big news. Indie Soup Media hit 25,000 subscribers yesterday. As Fitness IQ would go. Crazy. Ron Faster, one of the content creators, says yes to that. All right. Dr. Tachi says, Gala King, good to see you. One Full Circle Community says, joining you guys live from Trinidad.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Very nice. So see, we're getting the bug of people from other outside countries chiming in. Like I did.
Usually they're in Montreal, so I guess they're.
Yeah, this is a phenomenal. Okay, let me do one thing here. All right. Dr. Tachi says, David Hughes, wow, very cool. GoFundMe. Fitness IQ, I will email you and let's do it. Yes. And then Fitness IQ Cam, you made the sound as I did the celebration reaction. Yes, I copied you. So there you go. All right.
Nice.
Family, it's the second Friday of the month, but he's always available on any Friday, any day. Wayne Harris is in the house. Wayne Harris is in the house. What's going on?
Let's
you doing,
Let's
brother?
go. What's going on, gentlemen? How are you?
How you doing?
Buddy, I'm back. I'm back. Came in from Cuba on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, more likely. It was fantastic. First time to Cuba. First time.
You're kidding.
Buddy, I didn't want to go. I was afraid of the food, guy. I was afraid I was gonna have to bring.
But that's the main thing people say is the food.
Buddy.
But how did you compare it to? Because remember you said you went to Hawaii before.
Oh,
and Cuba. How would you compare the two?
Water was better in Cuba.
Okay, really?
Yes, I'm a Caribbean Sea kind of guy, and to be honest, when I went to Maui, the water was colder than expected. It was in March timeframe.
Gotcha.
It was a little bit colder, but let me tell you, where we stayed, Malia Veradero, this hotel was on point, super clean, food was on point, a la carte restaurants. They're rationing toilet paper. You get one roll in your room, and you better govern yourself.
Wait, one roll for what, the week?
No, but they tried, because we don't get our room cleaned every night. I think that's a waste of time. Just make your bed, bro, and keep it moving.
Yes.
But pleasantly surprised. We did the little upgrade, so we got access to a private lounge, private check-in, and more a la carte reservations. And small, family friendly. If you got little kids and whatnot, you're good to go. And the beach was right there, and the beach was nice. A couple of days, big waves, but other than that, it's very cool. And my big epiphany was actually seeing Havana for the first time.
Wow.
Yes.
So went in there and did a tour guide. Shout out to Jorge. He was fantastic.
Yep.
He said he made $50 a month as a civil engineer. Wow. And now as a tour guide, he makes US, Canadian, and euros. So it made more sense to be a tour guide on the tour buses than to be a civil engineer with the government.
Wow, that's wild.
Very wild.
I went to Cuba a number of years, and I really enjoyed it. And when I was in my meat eating days, one of the best steaks I've ever had was at the resort I was staying in Cuba. And we had a gentleman there too who took us around, did Havana. I really enjoyed it. I know lots of people, food. Yeah, well, all right, but I had no difficulties with it.
On the new diet, shout out to the Energy Shack.
Yep.
On the new diet, food wasn't really a concern for me, because the amount of sugar and stuff that they had going on there, I wasn't partaking in that. And for the first time in my life at an all-inclusive resort, I did not have any alcoholic beverages.
Okay. That is a testament to dedication.
Carolyn Nichols, man, she has spoiled me, because when I say the rum was pouring, and the espresso was pouring,
they're probably walking by with it to give you like every half hour.
A half hour. Listen, there's something called the Road to Paradise, or the something to Paradise, and it's three things in Cuba. You have to have coffee, rum, and a cigar.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And I did none of the above.
Wow.
But I watched people do it all around me. And it was really, really cool. So it was 5-star. The toilet paper thing, every night she would replace it if you got the room clean. So we would, listen, I was down. We went to one place. We had to pay her to use the bathroom at one of the stops on the way to Havana. And she gave me 4 sheets, bro. I'm 6'3", bro. 4 sheets. Listen, I've become ninja level with toilet paper. So now I come back home. I'm taking the same Cuban 4 sheets. Costco's not going to see us for toilet paper for a little bit.
Listen, you had to take the sheet and split it into.
Buddy. You're not even joking. It was real. It was real out there in the streets.
That's serious.
Okay.
Oh, my
Well,
goodness.
good to see you. Good to have you back.
Oh.
And Wayne, you want to talk about a myriad of conversation topics today. So you're back, I guess. Man, there are so many comments today. Okay, so Wayne, we're gonna get you to your first subject. People are making comments. Well, you know what? Because of what you said about your sheets, people are talking about that. So let me do it quick. Frequency Event Promotion says, congrats to your online tallied achievement to Dr. Tachi. Seniors K says, congrats to Dr. Tachi. Fitness IQ Cam says, hola, Wayne. She says, no, not because of the food. So that's why she doesn't want to do Cuba. She says, LOL, not because of the food. My producer is lost on this. Okay. All right. Frequency Event Pro says Toastmasters really not talked enough. It's a great thing.
I did it for 18 years.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I did it for a number of years too. And when I was working at TELUS Mobility, we launched the TELUS Vocal Mobility chapter of Toastmasters. There we go. One Full Circle says, please reshare the link for Dr. Tachi. I will put that in the comment section. C Nurse K and Frequency Event Promotions. Thank you, Dr. Tachi says. Frequency Event Promotions, Dr. Tachi, you're most welcome. Now here comes the toilet roll now stuff. Dr. Tachi, one roll. I hope they have bidets.
they did have a bidet, but I've never used one, so I was afraid I was going to have splashes all over the place. I was like, I don't know, buddy. I need to watch a YouTube video on the bidet and how to use it. I've never used it. I've seen them. We have Italian friends. We go to their house. They all have bidets. I'm like, I don't know how to use this thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, with splashes, that's what room service is for. They'll take care of it.
All right. Frequency Promotion says, sounds like 5-star accommodations. Wayne Harris minus the toilet paper. Oh,
I'm going to bring rolls next time. Next time I'm not paying. I'm bringing my own rolls. For when I go to Havana next time, I'm bringing my own roll. I'm going to say, look at my roll. I don't need to pay you any money.
All right.
Now hold on. So if you wanted extra, you have to pay for it, or
if you went outside of the hotel, you were at an excursion and you wanted to go to a public bathroom, there was somebody in there handing you 4 sheets.
Wow.
Oh my God.
For Cuban pesos.
Yep. Okay.
We'll talk about that in a second. The peso and
yeah.
the dollar.
There's a person. If I say the name wrong, it's my head, not my heart. Al J Morris. Al J Morris. Shout out to Wayne. Fitness IQ goes, watcha. She also says, also the ice. I don't know about the ice. And then Dr. Tachi says, shout out to Carolyn Nicole. Then there's no E at the end with Nicole, but she can handle it. Fitness IQ, LMAO, 4 sheets. All right. We could go on about the toilet paper, but we do have some serious things to chat about. So, Wayne, one of the first things you want to chat about today is actually in about an hour and a half's time, there's a new Canadian Prime Minister officially. Go for it.
Yes. Mark Carney, former governor of the Bank of Canada, former governor of the Bank of England, member of multiple international consortiums and forums, and very successful businessman, will be prime minister in the coming minutes and hours. And this is a good thing or a bad thing, depending on your position in Canada. My position is pretty simple. Mark Carney was Bank of Canada governor during the financial meltdown of 2008-2009, when Stephen Harper was prime minister, and Canada got out of that pretty unscathed. Gotcha. Okay, so I'm going to give him props for that. Now, the props go to him, or do the props go to Stephen Harper? You decide. But he was there at the helm at that time, and we didn't have that big a meltdown. But he's also been Trudeau's advisor for the last 5 years. And how's that been going for us? So, which Mark Carney are we going to get? And which Mark Carney are we going to see over the next few months? He's going to get a smaller cabinet. I'm looking to see. Have you heard of whether Frank Baylis has been invited to his cabinet or not?
I have not heard that.
Yeah, so if we can get someone,
Freeland was invited as
transportation, which is kind of interesting, from Deputy Prime Minister. But yes, I really want to see how he operates with Trump in the next little while he has the power he has, because Trump, like many other countries know that we have 4 and 5 year election cycles or 4.5 year election cycles, so they can just wait out Carney, because Carney's mandate is really until October, right? I believe he can delay the election until September of 2026, so he can cook for the next 18 months if he wanted to, or he can get the people of Canada to give him a mandate, which would give him 4 years to go up against Trump's 4 years and go up against or with Doug Ford's 4 years. So he's really going to determine with his advisors what makes more sense. Does it make more sense to start something you may not be able to finish because you have an election and you're no longer the prime minister, and now the new prime minister comes in and he wants or she wants to change what they want to do? We're assuming there's 3 leaders right now. There's Carney, Poilievre, and Jagmeet Singh, and those are the 3 that are going to go to battle for the prime minister's chair this year or next year. Does it serve Carney to do it faster, so Trump knows that he has the mandate and a majority mandate for the next 4 years so they can really have negotiation? Or does it serve him to try to fix this now while he has the mandate without an election and then do such a great job? People say, yo, this is the guy for us. And then he gets the majority mandate he needs because he and Trump have come to a conclusion that serves both countries.
Yeah, and that's why it seems weird to me that he would call an election so quick. One, because if he does lose, which that's been the polling and everything saying the Conservatives are going to come in for sure. So he'd be prime minister for 2 months.
Right.
Who would want to sign up for that?
Now, what polling are you looking at? Because the polling that you're seeing lately,
the Liberals have been in the graveyard for at least a year.
Yeah,
now
but
they're trying to say that it's coming back, but
a lot
really
of polls are showing that they're even.
That's still like lose territory. Because
why do you say that?
Even? That's not good enough.
Hold on a second. Okay, so if the Conservatives get a majority, who is the NDP going to swing with?
But I'm saying, even if they get a majority or a minority, Carney's not prime minister anymore. This is what I'm talking about. He's signing himself up to lose when he's the prime minister now. If it was me, I wouldn't call an election. The regular election is going to happen when it happens. I'm in now. The Trump stuff is going out of control. We don't even have time for an election right now. Like that's not on people's minds. So I'm just saying it would be weird for me to see him call an election just to now lose being prime minister and doesn't even have a seat yet. He has to win a seat, and seeing what happened to Bonnie Crombie, winning that seat is not guaranteed just because you're the leader of the Liberal Party. So that was just it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how soon he calls an election.
Listen, in order for him to call an election, he has to be able to speak to 33% of the Canadian population in their language of choice, which is not English. 33% of the Canadian population speak French. And we saw him in the French debate. His French is marginally better than mine. And my French on a scale from 1 to 10 is probably a 4. So I would give him a 6.
Gotcha.
In order to be able to throw down with Poilievre, you need to be an 8. So he might want to pump his brakes and go and get a French tutor over the next 6 months so he can handle himself in French media, because he will need 33% of the population to win a majority. Because once you have Ontario and Quebec, to be honest, the election's over. You win these 2 provinces, we've got 67% of Canada's population. You're pretty much prime minister. So he has to get that 33%. And there's a little group in Quebec called the Bloc Québécois. And they split the vote always. And I was in the water with we call them Piquist. This is not a separatist, but someone who votes to ensure French is on the agenda. And he will vote bloc as long as a bloc exists, guaranteeing the Liberals don't get what they need out of Quebec. And neither will the Conservatives. The last person to really dominate the Quebec landscape was Jack Layton with the Orange Crush or Orange Wave or whatever he had going on. And he dominated Quebec with MPs that were 17 and 18 years old because they were so anti-liberal and so anti-conservative. He had 21-year-olds who were at McGill win ridings It was
Wow.
crazy. And he had to go and train these people up, and obviously, rest in peace to him because he passed away. And the momentum that the NDP had was lost when he kind of passed away.
But also think, speaking of the NDP, what do you feel about if they don't call, like if Carney does not call an election himself, but the NDP said that they would vote non-confidence? Do you feel they're still in that frame of mind now that he's in instead of Trudeau?
Right. So, good question. I think that the optics of calling an election right now, after seeing what happened in Ontario, people didn't want to go to the polls in February. Right. They didn't want to do it. And there are about 30 MPs, 29 now. I believe Jagmeet got his pension in February. So there's 29 other MPs that need to be in their chairs October 21st of this year in order for them to receive their pensions because they've done their 6 years. That's full pensions indexed to inflation for 6 years of work.
Gotcha.
So if those MPs are sitting there who are waiting on those pensions in October, it does not serve them personally to have an election before October 21st. Honestly, October 21st is not enough. They have to be in that chair October 22nd, which is why they're trying to move the election to October 27th to give them a chance to get their 6 years and their full pensions. So always follow the money.
Right.
Always follow the money.
Let me ask Wayne, what are the potential risks and rewards of having someone with a banking background as a prime minister, in your opinion?
Another good question. It really depends on their stance and their political stance. Now, he's a banker, so he understands all the mechanisms of supposedly macro and microeconomics and banking. He is more astute at those things than the current U.S. president by far. And he's been in role and in politics and in some capacity as civil servant for many more years than the current president. The current president in the United States has 4 years in his last mandate and 2 months in his current mandate. And Carney's been around, since 2008. So that's a long time. So he will understand the mechanisms. The challenge is you need to be, when doing negotiations, and I've done a number of negotiating courses and love negotiation, buddy. You don't want to be a salesman selling cars when I come in to buy a car.
Right.
I mean, I roll up my sleeves. I start stretching in the parking lot. I'm ready to go to battle to get the best deal possible for whoever I'm shopping for, and I shop for myself and for other people as well, just for the fun of it, just for the love of the negotiation. Because once you know your position and you have a pretty clear understanding of their position, you know what you're willing to give and you know what you're willing to get. What I see is Canada saying, "Hey, we're gonna if you're gonna give us tariffs, we're gonna give you tariffs. Hey, they're 10 times bigger than we are. 10 times, okay?
Yes.
80 to 90% of everything we make goes to them. If they shut the door, what are we doing? How are you going to replace 90% of your exports overnight?
Okay, well, hold off on that because we're supposed to be talking about that a little bit later.
All
right. So, but we'll lead into another interesting conversation topic: the stock markets.
Right.
The Trump bump. Trump was coming in, buddy. We all got excited. Everybody made money, boy. Woo, it's great. Right? The Trump bump has been decimated by these conversations. And the stock market has been down for the last 8 days. Dow Jones down, S&P's down. There's something called the VIX, and the VIX is basically an exchange that runs counter. It basically shorts the market. So when the market's going up, the VIX is down. When the market's going down, the VIX is up. The VIX is up.
Gotcha.
Okay. So the market is like, this is no bueno.
Right, right.
Guess what? Guess what? When the market is down, who is that good for? Think about it. When the market's down,
Buy the dip. Buy the dip. Buy
buy
the dip.
dip.
Okay.
So what category of people have the funds to buy the dip?
The oligarchs and the billionaires.
Boy, they're winner, chicken dinner, Dr. Vibe.
Right.
So when you come in as a Republican, and you can go do your own history on Republican governments and the recessions that happen when they're in power, because those recessions benefit who? Those people who can those people who have the money to buy the dip. Because guess what? When we had Black Friday in 1987, I was in university and the market crashed. I said, I'm going to go play basketball. You know why? Because I had no money.
Mhm.
I couldn't buy the dip. I didn't even know what a dip was. And I was studying business in 1987. Okay. Shout out to everybody from Concordia Stingers. All right. We had another recession in 2000, Y2K. I was laid off during that dip. Okay. Did not buy the dip because I was laid off during that dip. I had a wife and a stay-at-home wife and 2 babies. And I got laid off in that dip. Did not buy that dip. 2008, we had a dip. I was at Microsoft. I bought that dip.
Okay.
Oh, buddy, I had the cash and I went all in. It was fantastic. Guess what happened again in 2020? We had a dip, little thing called COVID. I bought the dip. It was good.
Right.
I'm buying the dip now. I'm buying the dip now because guess what? I'm not retiring in 3 weeks, 3 months, or 3 years. I'm retiring down the road. That means I can buy now and wait for this thing to do what it does, cook, and it will cook at 11 to 13% over time on average since World War II. I bet on the U.S. market every time, and it's going to do what it does, cook. And when it cooks, I would have bought cheap. And you'll remember this podcast, March 14th, 2025. I said, I bought the dip. I'm telling you what to do. You got to come and get a financial needs analysis with me, and we'll see if it makes sense for you to buy the dip. But I am buying the dip. And I'll tell you this. When I was in Cuba, I could sell Canadian dollars, US dollars, or euros. Let me tell you, the Canadian dollar could have been used for toilet paper.
Damn.
Buddy, let me tell you, it's incredible how much our dollar has dropped in the last 2 months.
Right.
If you went to the bank and went and got Cuban pesos, which I do not recommend, if you went to the bank and got Cuban pesos, you got 110 Cuban pesos for $1 US. Okay? If you went to the streets, you got $250.
Okay.
$1 US.
What?
Buddy, I was out there in them streets.
Yeah.
Right? And I only bought enough pesos to tip everybody around the resort. And I was tipping like a fiend because when you know that a doctor makes the same as a bartender, and a mechanic makes the same as an airplane captain, it's for the love of the game. When people are passionate or only have the opportunities, and you know me, I'm doing my color spectrum. I'm looking to see who's in charge and what they look like, and who's at the bottom of the food chain and what they look like in Cuba, which is supposed to be a non-racist place. Let's just say,
Let's just put a break because it's going to catch up on a whole pile of comments. Got to get rid of the bidet comments finally. So, Fitness IQ Cam says, first time I used a bidet was in Japan, Korea. And she says, David Hughes, talking about he's done Toastmasters for 23 plus years and still passionate about it. Again, another bidet comment, 4 sheets. My God, today. Dr. Tachi goes, I hope your Mark Carney has the patience for the job because the U.S. is something else. David Hughes, and this is why it's great to have a global audience, says Australia and Canada are facing the same obstacles with the 47 admin. Though both our countries are strong, together we are stronger. What is up, Mark Lewis? Hope you are fine and safe. Good to have you here. Office of the Tim Frey. Tim Frey, good to have you here. Fitness IQ Cam says, however, Warren Buffett has been holding cash. All right. This has been holding cash. David Hughes says VIX is an acronym for the volatility index.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, there's a question. We'll get to that in a moment. Officer Tim Frey says the resetting of the market is happening. Get your teams together and start buying. Of course, you need cash.
Mhm.
David Hughes says 20,000 investors bought Bitcoin recently at 100,000 K. It's now worth 80K, but in the long run, it's going to go back up. It's going to go back up. Let's see. David Fitness IQ says, David Hughes, people love to buy at the all-time high. That's when it's when it's dipping. Yeah, many people like to buy high. They don't like to buy the dip.
Yeah.
And then,
Doesn't make any sense.
Emotional.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
If something
And
is not on sale, why would you buy more?
exactly.
Right.
And
right.
what One Full Circle has a question for you. Should we buy Tesla stock? Will it go back up? What are your thoughts?
Buddy. Let me tell you, Teslas are made in the US. China has a little company called BYD.
Yes.
And these cars,
Mhm.
bro, they're unbelievable. And they're half the price of a Tesla. But there's 100% tariff on these cars. Because if these cars ever land on our shores, it's
Tesla-
over.
Yeah, for
Tesla.
all North American companies done.
Buddy, these things park themselves, drive themselves. Unbelievable. And do it for like less than 60 grand. It's unbelievable. BYD is a force. And now that Elon has chosen his political stance and has been very public about it, well, guess what? Do Republicans buy electric vehicles? They're gas all day, diesel all day. You know, let's start drill, baby.
Yes.
The Republicans don't drive EVs, bro. Democrats drive EVs. Uh-oh. Well, you've just shown that you're in alignment and running Doge for the 47th president of the United States. Well, we have a problem with that as Democrats, and that's why sales for Tesla are down. And the Chinese competition is up. I almost went to the car show. I was going to go, but I'm like, oh, too many people. I can't do it. Too much walking. So I don't want to do it. But let me tell you, Tesla was ahead for many, many years because of the cachet and the branding. But let me tell you, Hyundai is not playing. Right? Hyundai is not playing.
Yeah.
And BYD is not playing. And neither one of those cars are made in Canada. So Tesla is going to have some challenges for now. I don't know how,
I think with them, their saving grace is a few things. First of all, Elon has a pipeline right into the U.S. federal government,
100%.
right? So that's going to be helpful for him because, and I think another thing too, when they release the driverless car, especially for taxi service, they're going to. So I think long term, yes, but in the short term, like I said, if that BYD comes in, it's over. It's 100%. Over.
But
it's
a lot
over.
of Tesla is tied to Elon's brand, though. So
Correct.
That's where, if he stays this course, it's gonna be. But the thing that he did that was really smart is he's built a lot of the infrastructure. So now, electric vehicles that are all being built and people are getting a Hyundai is doing better, BMW, whoever. They have to plug into an infrastructure that he's built. So
Agreed.
If Tesla's going to use that kind of long game being the infrastructure, that could come back. But his brand is
stock is down 20%, bro.
But I think again long term. So just catching up on some more comments. Office of the Tim Frey, Wayne, why are you retiring? Warren Buffett is 94 years old. Come see me on the beach in Barbados in 20 years. I'll still be an entrepreneur. LOL.
Nice.
Yeah,
Trey, I'll see you on the beach because you know I'm not going anywhere.
All right. Dr. Chachi says black market always gives more, but it's not great for the company's economy. Good morning, Minnie on cam. Good to see you. Dr. Chachi says, yes, BYD. David Hughes, not me. It sounds like you're probably saying not me to an electric car. Tim Frey saying, I'm working on bringing BYD to Barbados.
That would be listen, all Caribbean islands, if electricity wasn't $1 billion a kilowatt, would benefit from electric vehicles. But the infrastructure for solar and something I did with a consortium a few years ago in Barbados, the powers that be don't want competition, my friend.
They don't. I know.
They talk a good game in public, but when you actually go down there and say, "Hi, I'm here to help," they go, "No, we don't want any help. Thanks, go back."
Right. But did you see the car in Zimbabwe that was launched?
Yes,
that doesn't need to be recharged and can power homes.
Yes.
So, Dr. Tachi says my sister says they have them all over Malaysia. Mignon Camp says self-driving cars still crash into the big trucks. Fatty says thanks for putting up Indie Soup TV, Doctor. Okay. Okay. Ron Foster says Elon has a pipeline for now. And also Dr. Chachi says exactly, Ryan. She says Felon, not Elon. is the face of the brand. So because he's so forward facing, people equate his maniacal behavior with his brand. And Roger Dundas, of course. Good morning, everyone. I forgot to mention that. Good morning, everyone. He says, Wayne, what changes do you recommend to investment portfolios?
Good question.
Right.
Very simple. What's your risk tolerance? So I'm gonna look at your risk tolerance from super conservative, almost fixed income, all the way to super aggressive. What's your risk tolerance? And then when do you need the money? What's your timeline? Once you show me those two things, I give my recommendations.
Gotcha.
Good stuff. Well, we are fast and furious today. Well, let's get down to it. The trade war.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay.
Yes. So what I notice is that the federal government of the United States comes up with a position, depending on the day, depending on the time, depending on the mood, depending on the weather.
Yes.
And they say something bleh out loud. And then Canadians, each one of our individual premiers is getting on a plane and going down to DC and trying to defend their own backyard.
Right.
Asking myself, where is the prime minister to have these conversations? Oh, he went to Mar-a-Lago before Trump was president. So what are we doing here? No, Trudeau can't go and negotiate something because Trump's going to say, buddy, you're on your way out. Why am I even talking to you? I'm gonna cause chaos until the new guy comes in. Well, the new guy comes in any minute now. Once the new guy comes in, we'll see what he does, because this, ladies and gentlemen, will let you know if Mark Carney is more of the same of what you got from Trudeau, or whether he has new innovative ideas for how Canada can move forward with a liberal government in charge. You're going to know, because now all Trump was doing was doing what he does, which is be bombastic and create chaos to have us scrambling, and we scrambled. Rather than these 10 premiers go to Ottawa and say, hey, all you guys who are asleep at the wheel, if you don't come and speak from a unified perspective, taking all of what we have to say into consideration and make a statement, we're going to have to go handle this ourselves. And all I heard was tweet, nothing, crickets. So they got on a plane and they went down to DC to go handle business themselves. Then Doug Ford, our newly 3-time majority premier, said, hey, if they come with any foolishness for the things that affect my province, I'm going to slap 25% on electricity going to New York, Michigan, and Minnesota. And Trump said, hold my beer. That tariff that went from 25% on steel is now 50%. Hold that.
Mm.
And Doug Ford said, I don't take that back. Sorry. Nothing to see here. We will go and wait now for the new prime minister to come in and see where we're at the table. So when you're negotiating with a tiger, you don't wear steak necklaces.
Mhm.
Okay, you don't wear steak necklaces and hot dog underwear. You're
Right,
negotiating with a
right.
lion. Okay, leave him alone. Let him talk. Let him cook.
Mhm.
That's what he does, right? He's looking for a response. Relax.
Mm.
We can't do anything. We prorogue parliament. We can't do anything. Why? The media wants something to talk about. But while we're all distracted with trade wars, 25, 50, 100%, this, that, the other thing, what's happening to the market?
Right.
What's happening to the market? And that's all that matters to the United States.
Mm.
And all that matters to the rest of the world is that the largest economy in the world is in buying season for people who are buyers. So while everyone's distracted about whether it's 25 or 50 and whether it's Carney or Polyev, it's buying season. Do not be distracted. That buying season was manufactured so buyers could buy cheap. That's what no one's talking about, eh? Yeah, that's what you should be talking about. It's buying season. That's all that matters. Next question, Dr. Ryan.
Nice.
Well, you have to go in a few moments, Ryan. So if you have any questions for Wayne.
I was curious with usually when it's buying season, it ends like the dip. Like, do you feel like this prolonged dip, like the way that the Dow has been dropping, it doesn't seem like the dip is hitting the bottom anytime soon. So is that a cause for concern where even if it's buying season, you have to still pick your spots, right?
You solved that very simply, Ryan.
Mm.
Good point. I don't know when the bottom is going to be. No one knows.
Mm.
And no one knows what the top is. What I do know is that if you're not in the U.S. stock market, you're already losing. If you're not there, you're losing.
Mm.
Because it's the greatest economic engine on the planet. And like Floyd Mayweather, it's never lost.
Right.
Okay? It's lost money today, tomorrow, a week. But over time, since World War II, undefeated as the best place to put your money on the planet.
Mm.
So, how do you mitigate your risk? A little something called DCA. DCA is dollar cost averaging. You don't take $20,000 and throw it in, or $200,000 and throw it in. You take $200,000, you put it into a money market account, and you drip the $200,000 in, a couple $1,000 every day, every week, every month. So as it gets cheaper, you buy cheaper. When it gets higher, you buy higher. But on average, dollar cost averaging, you win. So rather than, the only way you lose is if you try to time the market.
Right.
And I guarantee, Ryan, the day after you put your money in, right? Or the day before you were thinking that you're going to put the money in, it will go up and you'll miss your opportunity. You need to be in the market. You need to be in it to win it. Mm-hmm. And the only way to be in it is to dump that money in periodically. Don't worry about it because you know it's undefeated. If you knew it was undefeated and you know you can't lose over time, the only thing you got to worry about is what I said to Roger. What's your timeline for when you need the money? And what's your level of risk? When I talk to people who look like us and don't look like us and don't understand what I just said, they have their money in GICs, guaranteed investment certificates. They have their money in savings account, high interest savings accounts, making nothing, not even beating inflation, right? And they have their money in there because they don't understand. So they put their heads like ostrich in the sand and hope that it doesn't help them. But listen, even if you put your money in your mattress, assuming the rats don't get it, right? If you put your money in the mattress and inflation's 3%, you're losing 3% every year. So your dollar next year is worth 97 cents. And the next year it's worth 94 cents. And if you keep it in your mattress, it'll be worth nothing because you're not meeting or beating inflation. So the only way to beat inflation is to look at your timeline. If I need the money to buy a house in 6 months, savings account's fine. High interest savings account, fine. I can't lose money. Can't afford to lose money. I need the money for the down payment. But if I'm in my 40s or my 50s, and I'm not retiring, like Tim Frey, he's never retiring. Well, then let the money cook in the number one marketplace on the planet.
Gotcha.
Why would you need them? Why are you afraid of what Trump is doing in March of 2025 when you're not retiring to March of 2045?
Mm,
And Trump will be pushing up daisies. He can't be president again.
right.
There should be a countdown clock somewhere for when he's going to go as president. Because when he's gone in 3 years and 11 months, someone will come in, either J.D. Vance or somebody else, and the policies will change. America is at the end of his empire economically. They know that, and the world knows that. So they're fighting tooth and nail to repatriate manufacturing jobs, or so they say, because they can close those plants anytime they want, eh?
Right.
Yep.
Anytime they want. Hey, Mexico's right there, Canada's right there. Why do we have GM in Oshawa? Why do we have Mexico? Why do we have cars being manufactured overseas and being brought in? Hey, they could repatriate and create what they had in the 1950s and 1960s in America, when America was great for some people.
Right.
Okay? For some people, they could repatriate all that offshore stuff, but there's no economic incentive to do so. Not for the people that were standing behind Trump when he was inaugurated.
Yeah, valid. And appreciate that. My apologies. I do have to jump, but always good seeing you, brother.
Yeah,
We'll
have a
talk
great weekend,
soon.
Ryan.
All right, take care, Gala King.
Yes.
Hey,
All
March
right.
29th, the next Not Gala Symposium.
All right, and we'll talk, because I saw the email you sent me yesterday about next Wednesday or Thursday.
Yes.
All right, good stuff. All right, we'll catch up on comments and other things going on. Office of Tim Frey says, have you looked into Ivani E4 car in Atlanta by Derek Automotives, the first black electric car manufacturer in the USA?
Yes, saw it on IG, and the cars are beautiful. Very, very impressed with the look and feel. I would have to do some due diligence on them to see what the infrastructure is like for can it charge in a Tesla? Can it handle winter? What kind of range does it get when it's minus 30? And what's the crash worthiness of the cars? Yada yada yada. So there's a lot of research to be done, but I'm not looking at an EV that is not made by a major manufacturer. I would probably lease one, but I wouldn't buy one. If I'm going to buy an EV, I have to know that the infrastructure and the parts and all the different things that are required to maintain that vehicle are in place. And there's not even a dealership in Canada, as far as I know.
Hey, Minion Cam says, my portfolio grew $25,000. Not bad for starting investing 5 years ago.
Good for her.
Yeah, David Hughes says the tragedy is that all the money in the world won't let you have more than one toilet roll per week in Cuban hotels. That's a Toastmaster that's on point.
Facts, David Hughes. Facts, David Hughes.
All
Love
right.
it.
Mark Lewis says, don't poke the bear without a plan.
Facts.
David Hughes says, when you are fighting with a gorilla, you don't want to stop when you get tired. You stop when he does.
Okay. That's interesting.
Right.
I like that one.
Yeah. Fitness IQ Camp says, facts. All you have to do was join, not sure where, S&P 500. Ron Foster says, I disagree as America sinks further into autocracy. America is losing its advantages globally.
Yeah, Trump is saying, I don't care if I'm liked. I want to be respected. I don't know if what he's doing is helping with either one of those causes. I don't know if he's more liked or more respected, but he feels, again, you need to create a tornado of distraction.
Yes.
To allow those who have the cash and the means to buy cheaply.
100%.
And when you look at what's going on within that context, Trump is delivering on his promise to his friends who helped put him in power.
Absolutely. He is only focused on a certain demographic part of the American marketplace. right?
And it's not you or me. It's not anybody like us.
No, he pitched a good game to a certain group of people,
Yeah.
which a lot of them now are getting, their jobs are going to be gone.
Yes.
And he got what he wants. So, and again, in some ways, there's rumor he wants to go for another term, but he can do whatever he wants because he's got the presidency, the Supreme Court, the House, the Senate are all Republican.
And he has it for 2 years.
Carte blanche.
So get your popcorn and enjoy the show, because this what he is, I loved Donald Trump when he was on The Apprentice. I loved him when I bought his book back in the 80s, right? He's the same guy. He's just marketing his perspective to a different group of people.
Same brand. He's always been the same.
Yeah, and listen, I am, when you think of a wealthy American who is a little bit over the top, he's a poster boy. I've got no disrespect for someone who manufactured his persona to get what he wanted, and he's doing it in public, and people are seeing it. People agree or disagree, but he is who he is. He told you who he is, and you voted for him. So God bless you. Enjoy the ride.
Okay, Mignon Camp says, that's why I love my government match on registered disability savings plan. That boost has helped me hit the milestone of $100,000. It's only up from here. Ron Foster says, Trump, I said his word, 47 is not leaving. Okay. I don't like.
Yeah, well, you know what? Whether he leaves or he doesn't leave,
the impact is done.
It really is. What are you doing?
Exactly.
To protect yourself from any eventuality in the American economy? What are you doing to insulate yourself? Because there are very simple things you can do. One is, don't have all your eggs in one basket. Canada put 80% to 90% of his GDP in the American basket, and Trump dropped it.
Bang.
And I'm like, go ahead.
Mark Lewis says, agreed, but not Tesla. Office of Tim Frey says they have patent protest generator that continually generates electricity for the car, so the Evan E4 can plug in but doesn't need to.
Very cool. I haven't looked into it.
We are such smart people on this show as always.
He's a good Bajan. He's a good Bajan, that Tim Frey.
Ron Foster says there is some truth. I don't know what the rest is. Dr. Tachi says he appealed to the lowest common denominator, who don't have the critical thinking skills to understand his end game anyways.
And that is what makes him a populist leader. And that is, you don't need to be rational if you believe that someone represents you, or you aspire to be like them, and you think you have a chance to be there. You're not going to admit to yourself that you should be singing Kendrick Lamar's song, "They're Not Like Us." That's what Trump is singing to those people who voted for him. They're not like us, right? You saw the people who were standing behind him. It wasn't Joe the plumber.
Nope.
Okay, they're not like us. And what people have is an aspirational view that Trump is going to put things in place to give them the chance that they could not manage under his last presidency, Bush, Reagan. Everybody else came before them. They couldn't get it done. But under Trump, they're going to get it done. They have a chance.
But here's the joke. His tax cuts aren't going to help many of the people who voted for him.
That is correct. And they're not supposed to.
But Wayne, doesn't it go back to the old days of Ronald Reagan, the trickle-down economics?
It's 100% what it is. And it didn't work then, and it won't work now. But the okie doke is in, and God bless him for playing along.
Dr. Tachi says New Yorkers, though, have always known that he is trash on wheels. It's a little bit different when he lives among you, and it's not just it's not just a television personality. Ron Foster.
Trump has many things, but Trump gets attention, and Trump gets opportunities that a lot of people don't have because of how he moves and where he moves. So, like him or dislike him, I don't have an opinion. I've never met the man, but I do know this: for him to do what he has done, not once but twice, he's smarter than anybody ever gives him credit for.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Okay.
also, his family's a great example of generational wealth.
And legacy.
Exactly. Ron Foster says there is some truth here, but you guys are missing Project 2025. Not missing it.
No, we're not missing anything.
No. It's just that it's interesting how Americans, even he said, even 47 says, I know nothing about it on the campaign. And who does he hire to run the office of budget management? One of the co-writers of Project 2025.
Makes perfect sense. You know what? As Canadians, go get your favorite popcorn, Dr. Vibe. Go get your favorite drink. Turn on your channel of choice on YouTube or on TV and just
100%,
watch
yeah,
the show.
it's going to be crazy. So Dr. Chachi says, or the American, and I think it's populist, you want to say, is dumber than anyone gives it credit for.
You know what? I have family in the United States. Some of them voted red, some of them voted blue. What we now know is this, and this comes from Dr. Claude Anderson. Shout out to him. This is a powernomics move. If you ever thought that political activism would trump economic activism, you now know that's a fallacy.
Of course it is.
If you didn't know before, and I think for 60 years, the Black population in the United States has said, listen, let me get some city councilors in there. Let me get some sheriffs in there. Let me get some mayors in there. Let me get some congressmen and some senators. And let me get a president in there. And maybe things will change. Guess what? There's certain cultures who don't care who the president is. They just cook. And we know who they are. And they don't have to do anything when the president comes in. They make the slight adjustments, and it's business as usual. I would love our people to be so economically insulated that would be business as usual, regardless of who the president of the United States is. And if you're feeling a little bit of ways, if you're feeling a little bit vulnerable in Canada or the United States because of what's going on at a macro level where you have no control, it's because you have not put yourself to have control economically.
You haven't put you haven't set yourself up to win.
There you go.
Right. All right. So let's talk about, I think one of the same, but how do Black people navigate the current economic threats?
Well, perfect. Great question. I think that you have to look at where your eggs are. We know where Canada's eggs are. Canada's been around for 150 plus years, and it has 80 to 90% of its eggs in the US basket. And it's not working well for them. Where do you have your eggs? Who is in control of your eggs? You only have a job, right? No shade on jobs. I had one for over 30 years. But if all you have is a job and your job is exposed to what's going on a macro level, and people who don't know you have a child and your child needs braces and it does dance and playing basketball can make a decision and your life could change and you could get a package of 3 months or 6 months, some of you a year, but now you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, and you have pre-existing conditions that require big drugs that you are getting for free because you are working for the right entity, and now that entity is no longer there, you got to pay out of pocket. How resilient are you with one job? And knowing that people can cut that string at any time and that job could drop with the basket of eggs. And the basket includes you, your spouse, your kids, maybe you're supporting family back home in another country. All those eggs drop when your basket drops. How resilient is your basket? And what can you do if only there were a bald, bold, Black agent, financial advisor to do a financial needs analysis of your personal situation, customized for you to build that resilience. If only that person existed, Dr. Vibe.
It doesn't come up in my mindset. Never. I really don't get it.
Yeah.
I also want. No, here's another interesting thing. How many people in America thought they had a good government job?
Woo. All those people in the VA. These people went to war for the United States. Went to war, came back, used a GI Bill and got their paper. Went into the government to help their own brethren who fought side by side with them, and now they are out of work, and more to come.
Like, wow. Like when
But,
you're hitting veterans. Wow.
but hey, when I tell people they should have a little something on the side for themselves, they tell me, no, 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 no. I don't have time for. I'm too busy, Wayne. I'm too busy putting my eggs in one basket where someone arbitrarily could drop that basket to work with you for myself to build resiliency and protection against my employer. Because last I checked, HR is not for you. HR represents management.
Of course.
And if HR represents management and the most expensive cost of any business is labor,
Yep.
and you happen to be labor, what are you doing? So if anybody who's listening to me, live or recorded, only has a full-time job, and that's your only source of income, you are at risk, and more at risk now than ever before in the history of these two countries.
100%.
Okay.
100. Like, if this isn't a wake-up call, I don't know what is.
All right.
I really, I don't know what is, if this isn't a wake-up call for everybody. My question for you, Wayne. Okay, some more comments here. Fitness IQ Cam says, LOL, make sure the popcorn is Canadian.
Yes.
Mark Lewis, interesting story this week about how his grandfather started a family fortune with a brothel hotel in Canadian West during the Yukon Gold Trust. Are you talking about 47 there? I wouldn't doubt.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Sounds like it. What
the Kennedys were running moonshine.
Exactly.
Come on, everybody.
Exactly.
The only people who play by the rules are us. Anyway, that's for another story.
Yeah, but here's another question though. What suggestions do you give, I guess, two groups? Parents with kids,
yep,
and those who are in post-secondary institutions or just graduating from post-secondary institutions.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of calls from people who are asking me for internships.
Wow.
Hey, do you know anybody who's hiring for internships? My son is looking, my daughter's looking. Hey, do you know? Listen, these are people who are connected.
Wow.
And they're asking me, who has been disconnected from my former career of risk management for IT resources for almost 8 years now. They're asking me to help their kids get work. And the good news is, hey, I'm a benevolent guy. So I will definitely put it out there, and I've received some interest for some of these kids. But there's a system in getting hired. There's a system in getting hired. There's a system in getting hired for internships. There are certain things you need to do to put yourself in position well before internships are required. What I'm noticing is that body of work is not being done by most of these kids. I'm not saying they're entitled, but they're basically thinking this is 1997, when everything was hot in Canada. Everything was great in 1997, 98, 99 as we rolled up towards Y2K. Then everything wasn't. Then everything was great 2004 to 2008. Then everything wasn't. Then everything was great 2010 to 2020. Then everything wasn't. When things aren't great, you can't, what got you here won't get you there when things are changing. When the wind is blowing at your back, you walk faster. When the wind is blowing in your face, you move slower. The wind is blowing in your face, and there's a crosswind and a hurricane and a tornado, and there's sharks all at the same time right now. You can't do the normal motion of this gentle job search. You have to know who you need to know before you need to know them. And you need to put yourself in position of showing them that value before you need to be hired. And this pre-work is either unknown, unrespected, or just, I don't want to use the word lazy, because I think it's ignorance on fire. They just don't know what they don't know. They're unconsciously incompetent on how to find work in this environment. The pre-work. Every time I lost a job, I had a job within 90 days. Why? Because I was doing pre-work all the time. When I had a job, I was talking to people as if I didn't have a job, so that when I needed a job, they knew my body of work. I wasn't starting from scratch when I was laid off, and I was laid off 3 times.
Know what I heard something from a gentleman who I really respect saying, it's not who you know, it's what they know about you.
That's me.
There you go. That's why I brought that up. That's why I brought that up.
That's me. I said that.
What they know about you, especially what they know about you when you're not there.
Buddy, you know how many golf courses and private lounges there are across all these great cities in Canada, the United States, and around the world, where people who have heard your name are mentioning you. And if the person on the other side of that conversation says, yeah, I know, I've heard of that guy, he's a schmuck, it's over for you. So what are you doing to build your personal brand? What, you know, 100%. You want to have hot girl summer on Instagram, but then look like super refined and conservative on LinkedIn, but you have your public profile on Instagram. People are looking at your social media. They started doing that years ago.
100%.
So make sure that your brand is consistent across all platforms.
There is a word that's become very prevalent in my mind and what I say, alignment.
Yeah. Make sure you're aligned. I'm not saying don't have fun. I'm saying maybe you want to have fun offline and keep it offline.
Absolutely. Right? Well, when we started the conversation yesterday, I had the pleasure of watching a great content creator last night, Tanya Smith. I'll put her name out there again. And she said, I got to remember what she said, that value, not vanity.
Sure. 100%.
It value, not vanity. Okay, lots of more comments. Excuse me, coming in here. We've got David Hughes. David, we got to get you on this program now, because after this statement, especially, I was 80 in November. I left the paid workforce when I was 45 and have worked for me ever since. Life is beautiful.
Let's go, David. Let's go. Tell them again. Say it loud enough for the people in the back, David.
Okay. I was 80 in November. I left the paid workforce when I was 45 and have worked for me ever since. Life is beautiful. So, family, this man left the workforce 35 years ago when things were allegedly really good.
Yep.
Life is beautiful. David, we got to get you on. And I would love to introduce you to, I think we'd have a good conversation between yourself, myself, and Wayne. I think that'd be a beautiful conversation because we all have at least Toastmasters in common. Fitness IQ girls, also entrepreneurs, she says, are in trouble with one stream of income. That's a challenge. Or entrepreneurs with investments. Eek.
There's a difference between being self-employed and being a business owner. And I think in our community, we conflate the two. Mm-hmm. Self-employed means you need to get out of your bed to go make the money. Business owner has employees. So self-employed leverage their own time. Business owners leverage people. If you can't leverage people and stay in your bed and have money come in, I made as much money when I was in Cuba as when I was here.
There you go.
Because when I go on vacation, my money doesn't go on vacation. Because I'm a business owner, not self-employed. So if a dentist doesn't say open wide, they don't get paid. If a doctor doesn't swipe the OHIP card, they don't get paid.
That's right.
A lawyer doesn't take a retainer, they don't get paid. So people have this delusion of grandeur that these professionals are business owners. They're self-employed. A plumber makes great money, but he got to get in his truck, go there with the tools, and fix the pipe. Now, a plumbing company that he owns and has a roster of plumbers, and all he is doing or is paying someone to dispatch, he can be in Cuba with me. So what are you? Are you self-employed or are you a business owner? This is Cash Flow Quadrant 101, Dr. Robert Kiyosaki. 30
Kiyosaki.
years ago. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Poor Dad,
What are
100%.
you? And stop being delusional. Be objective reality, not delusion. What are you? If you're self-employed, let's admit it, and let's put systems in place to make you a business owner if you want to go there. But if you want to stay self-employed, that's fine. Then you need to build resiliency in your investments, because if you get broke up, which is the technical term, right, for disability insurance, or you get seized up, which is the technical term for critical illness insurance, you better have those two things in place to have the money coming in even when you can't get out of bed.
100%. I'm just going to show something really quick to people here, because we've been fooling around with something today, and I think we finally got it to work. All right, just something we're fooling around with today. So if people can see that is a screen of where people are chiming in from around the world.
Wow.
Right? They're chiming in from, there's North America, there's Canada, America, there's Trinidad, which is, and then also I think this person here is Malaysia. So we're just fooling around with some things. We're up in the game on the Dr. Vibe show, the morning vibe. So just wanted to show that with people. So
Look at
we'll
tech.
be doing just having some fool around.
I'm impressed.
Okay, Mignon Camp says insurance companies avoid paying for pre-existing conditions if another insurer covers them. I'm stuck with ODSP drug plan. Learned this while shopping around for insurance.
Yeah.
Mark, Dr. Chachi, Mark Lewis, of course the fortune is achieved through ill-gotten means. Mark Lewis says to Dr. Chachi, very unsurprising. One Full Circle Community says life is relationship based. I don't think anything else. She goes, and Dr. says, this is why I was able to secure a professorship the day after I defended my dissertation. I had already been teaching at major universities for 4 years, so I had the experience.
Nice.
Mark Lewis says, ignorance on fire. I preach about LinkedIn and networking all the time. It works if you put the work in. Actually, I was listening to Dr. Joyce Fraser this week, and he's changed, because that's another great book if you want to read it, people. Success Runs in Our Race.
Yep.
Great book, but he's changed that terminology now. But definitely, but you got to make sure your net is working.
Your network is your net worth. Is what he said. Yes.
Dr. Tachi says, not hot girl and hot boy summer.
Yes, it's coming soon. It's coming soon.
Mignon Cam, it's have fun off camera. Yes. And Fitness IQ says, can't always sell certain parts. Martin Lewis says, what? Fitness IQ says, wata. And Mark Lewis agrees with David Hughes. Yeah, Dave, we got to get you on the show. I think great. And he says we can do it.
Listen, if you're 80 years old and you're living your best life,
100%,
and you have more money than month, because most people in Canada have more month than money, right? It's not a good place to be. And if we're going to live, my father lived to 90, and he was born in 1933.
Wow.
So those of us born after him should go well into our hundreds if we take care of business. Will you have enough money to maintain your lifestyle with no money coming in? And for how long? That's the question, or the questions that I answer and put a plan together to get you there. Because listen, your future self is depending on you to make the right decision with your present self. I see people driving cars that are worth more than they get paid. For what? To impress who? Status is buying things you don't need with money you don't have to impress people you don't know or like.
That is one of your keys, your key statements. You know that.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, people are still out there trying to find work based on the first intelligence, which is IQ. If you work in a place where it is STEM oriented, and you're going to be Sheldon Cooper, who has no emotional intelligence by his own admission in the Big Bang Theory, but because he's so good at what he does, the technical aspect of his job. They put up with all the other foolishness because he's so good at what he does. Most of you aren't that good, but you don't want to work on the other 3 intelligences. Intelligent number 1, IQ. Everybody on here smart enough to be on this call? Good for you. Those who are going to watch on the replay, good for you. IQ, fantastic. Now we need EQ. Hey, do people like you or do people run when they see you? I have people who run towards me and people who run away from me. Right? Depending on the day, I'm okay with it. But for the most part, I rub people the right way, not the wrong way. Third, intelligence, cultural intelligence. Do you know the difference between a Trinidadian and a Tobagoan? You know the difference between a Jamaican and a Bajan? You know the difference between a Hindu and a Punjabi? You know the difference between a Welsh and a Brit or an English person? What's your cultural intelligence? And then the fourth intelligence is your network intelligence. And this is where people are all dieseled and big in the chest, in the arms, in the shoulders, and got 2 little sticks for legs. No network intelligence. Refuse to go to networking events. Refuse to collaborate with people. Refuse to add people on LinkedIn and add value before asking for value. Everybody's walking around with a goodwill bucket. And in that goodwill bucket, it could be full. And your job is to pour some goodwill into someone else's bucket before you ask for some goodwill from them. But everybody has their bucket empty looking for people to put goodwill. Hey, can you get me a job? Hey, who do you know? What? Have you done anything for me? Anything? Even buy me a Tim's.
I'd say to them, what are you bringing to the table?
All right. Well,
right.
When Kevin Samuel said that, shout out to the Godfather, rest in peace. When he said that, people took offense.
All right. Look at this. One Full Circle says, I would love to connect with David Hughes. David, you see, people are coming after you, bro. People coming after you. Okay, so fitness IQ count. How are you able to see that? Okay, well, people like that thing I dropped here. We're testing some things. One Full Circle says, awesome. We're on the map too. LOL. Yes. Mark Lewis goes, security. Oh, people love that feature. There's more coming with that. We just tested out today. The Dr. Tachi, the map is great. David Hughes, I'm on the bottom of Australia, just a dot on the map. David Hughes, speak to Wayne for financial advice and speak to me about confident communication. Wow, I would love to get both of you on a show. What?
I know David's counting my ums and ahs, David. I'm trying to hold it together. I'm trying to hold it together, David. But they're coming at me hard. They're coming at me hard and fast. I'm trying to hold it together. I know he's counting.
Yes, the counter. I remember those. Counter. Remember those days. Fitness IQ says, never miss legs days. She says, buy me a coffee. All right. David says, I'm Welsh, speak English, and a smattering of Spanish. Can say hello and goodbye in 12 languages. Travel does that for me.
Let's go.
Like
this is like having a wizard from the future come back to the present and tell you what you need to do to get to where he is at. It would be a very interesting conversation. I would be tuning in. Trust me.
That would be really, and David and I've been digital nomads at least 10 or plus years, and David, we got to make that happen. We got to make that happen. That'd be be a phenomenal conversation. I love how when you put it, you've got someone from the future telling you, giving you the game.
All the breadcrumbs are between my age and his age. There's lots of breadcrumbs.
100%.
Even though knowledge is king, context is queen. So we're going to take the knowledge from David, even though the context is a different part of the world. Still, the principles are relevant.
Foundational. And so David goes, no, I'm not. I don't know what you mean. I thought I will if you want me to. I don't know what that means. It goes, Mark Lewis, we're getting masterclass stuff here today. Mark Lewis says, add value before asking for value. Oh! Bam.
There are people I will go to the mat for to help them, because when I was looking, they were helpful. When I wasn't looking, they were helpful. Mark Lewis is one of those guys. Shout out to Mark Lewis, because this is a guy that was always in the right places, talking to the right people his entire career. And I watched him come from a very junior individual to a super senior black belt. I want you to go from white belt to black belt in the cybersecurity game. Shout out to him.
Yeah, Mark Lewis, good people. And he doesn't tell people what he does. He just does it.
Ninja level.
100%. He just does it, and he just lets his actions speak. Full time. Mr. Harris, anything else you want to share today? Because I know we probably keep you past your time.
Buddy, listen, I went to the gym this morning early o'clock because I knew I had to come on here and I had to have the energy. I tell you, we are in uncertain times. But guess what? The good news is we're in uncertain times. The bad news is we're in uncertain times. So guess what? Your job is to make sure you're certain about what your value is, what you bring to the table, and what you're going to do to build resiliency around yourself, your family, and your finances to weather any storm that comes, because the storms will come. If you see a sunny day, storm is coming. If you're in a storm, sun is coming. You need to be able to adapt and have the tools in place. And if only you had access to, I'll say it again, a bold, black financial coach to show you what to do. From a Canadian perspective, I've got friends in the US who can help you in the US, and I'm sure in other parts of the world we can figure it out. But if you're in Canada and in the United States, and you do not have a plan for yourself to weather these storms and build resilience around your income, talk to your boy.
Well, David,
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. David Hughes says, I'm not counting Wayne's ums and ahs.
Good man.
And One Full Circle Community says the One Full Circle Community, OFC community, is based on this concept. We are here to build relationships. This shows, well, Wayne's great. I just steer the ship. You guys are just driving it. Just driving it. I really think with the adversity always brings opportunity. I'm glad Wayne is back, because I have to catch up with him on some things that I need to get some suggestions on him from. I think everyone, if you don't have somebody, ask for an hour of Wayne's time. No strings attached. Done. Simple as that. What? Quick. Here's a quick question I have for you. Say that Trudeau didn't resign. And all this stuff was going down. Do you think he would have won an election?
Depends on the outcome of the conversations that he's having with Trump. So if we go into full tariff mode and we lose more that we lost from NAFTA and the MCPA or whatever, the last Mexican, Canadian, US agreement, if we're losing ground in those negotiations, he would have a harder time. If we maintain what we have and move forward, fine. We need to do a couple of things. On paper, we need to do a couple of things. We need to stop the backpack of fentanyl a year, because that's what comes out of Canada. The backpack of fentanyl a year that goes in the United States from Canada, we need to stop that backpack. Now, there are trailer loads of fentanyl coming from the southern border, but the backpack of fentanyl that comes from Canada, we need to put a couple $2 billion and put some people on the borders and lock that down and show the Americans that we are taking that seriously. And one person dying from fentanyl is one person too many. So I get it. So we fix that. Next thing we need to do is Trudeau needs to take all the brakes off of building the pipeline going to the BC and going to Nova Scotia. All brakes have to be off because the pipeline needs to go east and west so he can reduce the amount of trade dependency on the United States. The next thing that no one's talking about that was there since I was born in Canada is interprovincial trade barriers that no one's talking about. You want to get a bottle of wine from BC and Quebec, good luck. You want to get something from Ontario, labor from Ontario, you're a plumber in Ontario, you want to do work in Quebec, across the bridge from Ottawa to Gatineau, good luck. All those barriers, hey, we're all the same team. Eh? Trump sees this as the 51st. He didn't say, I'm going to divide each province into another state. He didn't say it's going to be 60 states. He said 51. He said to see the country as one monolithic economy. Well, we need to start thinking ourselves as one monolithic economy. The people in the Maritimes have some value. The people in the West have some value. Ontario has value. All the other provinces have value. We need to be able to move across borders between our country like the EU can move. You can move, work in France. You can work in Germany. You can work in this other country. In Italy, you can do your thing. We need to be able to do that. The fact that you can't buy certain things from Saskatchewan in Manitoba right next door makes absolutely no sense. It's an own goal. We're scoring on our own net. So we're going to fix those things. Trudeau would have to show consistency because in Canada, it matters. It doesn't matter in the United States, but in Canada, it matters. You have to show us that you're going to be a leader. You stand for something, you have values, and you're going to be consistent in getting something done. He did that in his first mandate as a majority. Something's happened in the last 9 years that I can't explain. I'm sure they're going to write a book on it, but I need leaders to lead. I need managers to manage. That's what you're there for. I need you to do your job. And if Trudeau could do that, he could still be in power. What we were seeing is he was losing the confidence of his cabinet and the constituency. And every by-election he was losing, the magic of his father's last name is
Walked
over.
away. Yep.
It's over.
Yep.
Okay.
Mark Lewis says, thanks, gents. And he also says, I thought I was uninsurable until I talked to Wayne. And then Fitness IQ Cam said, but golly, the multi-taxes.
Again, tax is the only way the government makes money. Taxes, fees, and surcharges. So in order for them to give up a tax, they're going to have to find another source of revenue. They've never found one because they never had to. Trump is forcing them to have to. So if you want taxes to reduce, new markets, create more economy, you have more people, we can reduce taxes because we have more productivity. Canada has been a very unproductive country for many, many years. The productivity per person is very, very low in this country because we depend on the distance between our dollar value and the US dollar value to make up the difference. And that's why we've been stagnant and have very little growth for many, many years. I'm not an economist. My son is. Maybe I have to bring him on and have him break it down.
That'd be good to have. Final comment. David says, great show. Well, for him, it's tonight. And always a great show for me. Thank you so much, Dr. Vibe, Brian and Wayne, and all who are here. I truly look forward to being on the show. We look forward to having on you because I'm going to make sure Wayne can come on and join. We have a nice little round table there. That would be large.
Tales from the Future. That's what you should call that show. Tales from the Future.
There we go. Well, my brother, look, thank you so much. And I'm glad you had you. I'm Wayne. I have to say this. I'm enjoying seeing you enjoy your life.
Thank you, man. You as well.
Yeah,
we are both in our working in our gifts.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I look at my dad, 87 years old. He's been in Jamaica since January 8th.
Good for him.
Just is sitting on his veranda overlooking the city every day. Just relaxing. Done deal.
That's what you want.
Yep, 100%. Well, look, as always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history, but you are doing both. You're one of those people I know who are doing both, and always make it better. Peace, my brother. Take care. All right, that is it. Woo! That was a conversation, family. That was a conversation today, but always is when Wayne kicks it up. All right, let's do some closing thoughts. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. If you want to advertise your business, product, or service on the show, email me dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. I will. Oh, if you want to get a hold of Ryan, you can get him at Ryan Oneil Knight. That's Knight on his website. LinkedIn, Ryan Oneil Knight. Instagram at Ryan.99. Email, work with me at RyanOneilKnight.com. One full circle. You had asked for Dr. Tatsi's information, so I'm going to put it here. There's Indie Soup TV. You had asked earlier on. I did not forget, so it's there. So take a screenshot of that, or just go to Indie Soup Media on YouTube. You'll be there. All right. If you want to get a hold of me, the drvibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, the Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram at the drvibeshow, X at drvibeshow, email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com, Blue Sky at drvibe.bsky.social. All right. You can watch replays of this epic conversation, the Dr. Vibe Show, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, Afro Caribbean Business Network, and Ryan Oneil Knight, YouTube. At the beginning of today's conversation, I said we had something big coming up on Sunday. Forgot to mention it, but I'll mention it now. Camille Dundas. Camille Dundas. I respect Camille Dundas so much as a mother, a lady, as a journalist. One of the co-founders of BuyBlacks.com. BuyBlacks.com is Black Canada's #1 online magazine. She and another writer have just finished writing a 3-part series on BuyBlacks.com. A few months ago, there was a story of a number of missing Black boys in the Greater Toronto area. We are going to have Camille Dundas talking about it live on Sunday afternoon. If you're following me, the post is already up. Black Canada Talking, 5 p.m. Sunday afternoon, tomorrow night, Saturday night, or tomorrow afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Primetime Saturday with Aisha Lala, and that's another great show. And then Monday night, we have Black Men Can Talk with myself, Paul Osborne, Kofi Morris, and then Monday we have XP Eats that is doing a new way of providing food for those who are food insecure. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher and wider. Love, faith, and respect. And as always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. And if you're try to do both. And if not, but always make it better. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith and walk good. Peace.
This whole thing of using your business with plant-based products, don't you think your life should reflect that too?
Juke him, Carolyn. Juke him. The family loves us here because they're saying Fitness IQ Can says put a wig on to get in.
Oh my God.
Like the ideas are just coming fast and furious here this morning. What? Okay, look at this. Global Women Ambassador. Good morning. Look forward. Okay.